Alright guys, so listen, after playing Marathon Season 2 update, I think that this game has a much bigger problem than people realize. And Season 2 actually made it a lot harder to ignore. And no, it's not the gunplay, and it's not the progression systems, and to be quite frank, it's not even the developers anymore. And once you see this problem, you genuinely can't unsee it. And here's the weird part, Season 2 is actually really good, which makes this conversation way harder for us to have. Because if I'm right, Marathon is dangerously close from making the same mistake that quietly killed other really promising shooters. Now I want y'all to think about this for a second. What does Splitgate, Hyperscape, and Lawbreakers all have in common with Marathon? And no, it's not the fact that they were all failed shooters. It's a little bit deeper than that. It's a fundamental flaw that quietly kills games like these. Eventually, these games started to feel smaller than they could have been. And before y'all roast me in the comments, I do not mean physically small.
Ha! Gay!
Relax. I mean small in the worst way possible. Like there just wasn't a bigger vision for these games. There wasn't any excitement about what came next. No moment where players looked to the future and thought, man, this game could be the next big game everyone plays. And the crazy part, these 3 games should have worked. And yet, all 3 failed spectacularly. And that is where Marathon is starting to make me nervous. And before we continue, just to be crystal clear, Marathon Season 2 update is good, like really good. And clearly I'm not the only one who thought so. Over 40,000 people logged in on the second day of its launch. Now granted, I will say, Bungie still found a way to fuck this up too, because the servers were basically down for the entire first day. Y'all had one job. But jokes aside, that's roughly 4 times what the game had been averaging. That's exactly why this conversation matters. And here's the thing. Somehow, the better the core experience of Marathon gets, the more obvious its biggest problems become. Now, if you're new here to the channel, welcome. I love that you decided to stop by. My name is Eric, and around here, if I can get this to crack open without making a mess, we drink beer and talk about video games.
And for my familiar faces, if supporting a small timer like myself was a felony, y'all would be on a first name basis with the prison cook.
So here's the question I have for y'all today. What exactly is Marathon missing? And more importantly, can Bungie actually fix it? Because after playing Season 2, and after seeing Bungie's roadmap for the future, and seeing just how many players returned to the game, and then shortly left after, I realized something. Marathon isn't missing potential. It's missing its home run swing. Now, you're probably thinking, he's about to sit here and tell me Marathon is doomed, that the game is cooked, and that the haters finally got to his ass.
Oh, no.
But no, I'm still thoroughly enjoying this game. And honestly, that's what makes making this video a little bit frustrating. And so here we are. We know Bungie's plans for the next few seasons, and Season 2 is currently out right now. And despite me really enjoying it so far,
that's pretty good.
The more I look into Bungie's long-term vision for the game, the more I have to ask myself an uncomfortable question, which is, are they thinking big enough? And let's get something straight. If Season 2 completely sucked, this video would be way easier to make. We could just say,
all right, y'all, I was wrong. This shit's ass. Pack it up. Let's go play some Ark Raiders.
But that's the problem. Season 2 isn't ass. Not even close, actually. They've made some real strides in the right direction here. For example, progression feels way faster. Like, I was level 11 in what, 4 or 5 runs maybe? Which admittedly might be a little bit too fast, but compared to Season 1, I'll take this all day, man. Because last season, sometimes it felt like this game was asking me to commit to a second job, and I've already got one of those. It's entertaining you fellers here. And the new cradle system, way less annoying than the old faction-based skill tree. Instead of feeling like we're trying to decode some ancient Egyptian scripture, we can actually just play the damn game. The new season also brought with it 2 new guns to the sandbox. The new SMG, it's like a Vector from Call of Duty got imported straight into the game. And the new pistol, it's as if they took Halo 3's battle rifle and turned it into a pocket pistol. And I'll admit it here and now, when I saw they were only going to be adding an SMG and a pistol, I was extremely skeptical. But damn, are these new weapons fun to use? And a quick question for y'all. You remember those annoying ass quests that required you to run from one point of the map to another in a single run? Yeah, those are pretty much gone now. Contracts are way more satisfying and easier to play through this time. And the loot still feels generous. Hell, maybe even more generous than before. And that changes one of the fundamental arguments against this game, because now the game's handing gear out like it's candy even if all you do in the raid is complete one single contract. You died and lost all your gear? All right, not the end of the world. Here's some more for breaking 5 pieces of glass last match. Now go run it back. And that makes Marathon way easier to jump in for casual players. And for all the folks that are out there right now screaming, but Eric, what about the PvE? The new mode lets you spawn in with your crew, have the entire map to yourself, loot without fear, and complete your contracts. Is it my cup of tea? No. But does it need to be? No. That's what having options is all about, man.
Now real quick, if y'all are enjoying today's video, make sure you lasso that there like button for your boy. It helps the video reach more failures like yourself. And honestly, I'd appreciate the hell out of you for doing so.
It's crazy to say this, but it feels like Bungie is actually figuring this shit out, man. And that's what makes making this video hard. Because now we can stop asking, can Bungie fix Marathon? But now we have a new question in its place. Is Marathon as it stands today doing enough? And that question matters way more than it used to. Because whether you like it or not, Marathon is Bungie now. So if Marathon succeeds, Bungie likely succeeds. But if Marathon fails, well, we're gonna need to get Porky the Pig on standby for them.
That's all, folks.
And here's the thing, guys, I wanted the update to completely blow me away, but despite all the improvements, something still feels off. So what exactly do I mean when I say Marathon still feels off? Because it's not about the current content surrounding the extraction game mode, and it's not about the player counts either. Honestly, it's not even about Season 2. If anything, Season 2 proves that Marathon can get better. Personally, I think Marathon is too self-contained, too narrow, and to be honest, too focused on being one thing. Like, these developers know what their fans are expecting from them, and they seemingly refuse to do anything bigger than what they initially set out to do. And that is where it started to click for me. I think the new map, Nightmarsh, accidentally showed me the problem. Not because the map is bad, it's not, but because I think my expectations were finally bigger than what Marathon actually delivered. In the trailers, Bungie sold Nightmarsh as this game-changing, high-stakes, horror-light, mind-bending sci-fi evolution to the game. That sounded awesome. The map itself is undeniably fun, but after 10+ hours playing Season 2, it didn't fully live up to those expectations. Some raids were completely dead. No PvP, barely any aliens spawned in. It felt like I accidentally queued into a freaking walking simulator. Then the very next run, pure chaos. Enemy teams converging on your position almost instantly, bots getting the jump on you because it was too damn dark to see, the game literally jump scaring you with hallucinations of zombified runners. Then after that, quiet again. Right back to the walking simulator. And before you start typing in the comment section, yeah, they can tune the map, they can increase the alien spawns, they can add one more team of players to the map, but that's not the point. The point is that this exposed me to something that's way bigger, to something that I think that a lot of the people who already dislike Marathon have been feeling the entire time since this game launched. Because for somebody who doesn't inherently just like extraction shooters, Marathon does not give the consistent holy shit moments. And that seems like a problem that Bungie is not focused on. And ironically, we've actually seen this happen before. Splitgate, probably one of the most fun arena shooters that I've played in years. Hyperscape, I enjoyed that game so much, I literally used it for background footage in one of my absolutely trash 2020 YouTube videos. And Lawbreakers, to be honest, that game died so damn fast, I didn't even get to play it. But the gameplay and mechanics genuinely look solid, and reviews at the time said as much. The point I'm trying to make is that the idea behind these games weren't bad. They just weren't to the scale that they deserved. And eventually, players stopped asking what's coming next and started asking, is this it? And dude, that is a really terrifying question for any live service game to have to answer. And this is where Marathon starts to concern me, because with Season 2, even with Bungie clearly listening, even with real improvements, I can see a future where people start asking, is this it? A lot of the detractors of this game are already saying that now, because the reality is all Bungie is building is a really good extraction shooter, instead of building their next great blockbuster franchise. And here's the hard pill that Marathon fans probably need to swallow. No matter how good they make the extraction mode feel, that mode has a ceiling. And that realization is when I started looking at Bungie's roadmap differently. And one uncomfortable question keeps popping in my head. Can Bungie survive even if Marathon becomes one of the best extraction shooters on the market? Now, to be fair, Bungie does actually have a long-term plan for the game. This isn't one of those situations where the developers are off at some beach in God knows where, sticking their head in the sand pretending that there's no problems. They clearly understand that there's issues. The grind, the onboarding, the matchmaking, the solo queue frustrations, the sweaty lobbies problem. And after reading what Joe said about what the roadmap looks like, there's some genuinely smart ideas on there. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Fixing the current version of Marathon and making Marathon the game that it could be are not the same thing. Because when you really break down Bungie's plans, most of it actually makes sense for an extraction shooter. In Season 3, they're adding even more content to the game and are planning even more onboarding improvements as well. Then, Season 4, more depth is coming to the current extraction loop, which, speculating on what that exactly means, is a topic for a whole nother video, to be honest. And Season 5, their goal is to bring the PvPvE ecosystem together, presumably to an even further degree than they already currently have. Again, we'll have to wait and see what they mean. That all sounds good. Marathon absolutely needed improvements with accessibility, progression, and more ways to enjoy the core experience. But did you notice something? Almost everything that Bungie is talking about still revolves around making the extraction loop better, making it more rewarding, more approachable, less frustrating, and above all else, more replayable. And again, that matters. I'm not disputing that. But that is not the same thing as making Marathon feel bigger, more ambitious, and worthy of being Bungie's current flagship title. When I think about Bungie, I don't think about just one great experience. I think about multiple great experiences. I think about Halo. I think about Destiny, games that felt larger than life, games where there was always something else to do. One night, we'd play ranked. The next, co-op campaign with our buddies. The next after that, custom games with 3 friends and 12 strangers. Then, Forge, Firefight, raids, strikes, community events. The list just keeps going. And that's the thing Marathon is still missing, because right now, Marathon feels amazing at being Marathon, a deeply interesting extraction shooter with great mechanics, design, and style, but not yet at being Bungie's next flagship experience. I think that's exactly why so many Destiny fans still haven't bought in, and likely will never buy in. Because even if they think Marathon is fun, what exactly are they showing up for? Only an extraction mode? For some people, that'll be enough. Hell, for me, it is enough. But this isn't about me, because for most players, extraction shooters alone just aren't enough to keep them logged in every day. Now, there is some good news in regards to some of the things that we're talking about. I'm aware some of you are already typing in the comments or saying out loud,
Well, actually, Eric, Bungie said that they're going to be trying out some PvP-only modes and other cool things that they want to experiment and test out.
and yeah, you're right. And that's great. But notice the wording that you and them used? They're testing, experimenting, trying, exploring new options for the game. Guys, this is Bungie, the creators of Halo and Destiny. This is not 4 dudes sitting in their garage surviving off Monster and Optimism. What is there to think about? What is there to test? And maybe I'm wrong. Honestly, I hope I am. Maybe in a few years, Marathon becomes something way more ambitious, way deeper, way more complete, something that actually feels like a true Bungie title. But if Bungie's long-term vision for this game is just a better version of the game we already have and not a more ambitious version, then I think they're aiming way too low to be able to get the kind of success that they need to survive. Because if Bungie wants Marathon to be something truly special, I think that they already have the blueprint necessary to be able to get way more people to start playing this game. All right, so let's talk about it. What exactly does Marathon need to become something special? Because after all this talk about what's still missing, what feels limited, and why Marathon still feels smaller than it should be, I actually don't think that the answer is that complicated. Because like I said, they have the blueprint necessary to make this game what it could be. But before y'all start typing in the comments,
Bro just wants Destiny 3 so bad.
no, not even close. Because I actually really like Marathon's identity. The dark sci-fi, the mysterious anomalies, the tension that each match has, the weird alien horror meets Halo vibe. That feeling is awesome. I don't want a different Marathon. I want more Marathon. More reasons to exist in the world. More reasons to log in every single day. More reasons to care about the game's future. And before somebody twists what I'm saying, no, I'm not saying the extraction mode was a mistake or that it needs to die. I think that the extraction element of the game should remain as the foundation of what we have. I just don't think that it should be the whole damn house. Imagine logging into Marathon, and instead of asking, what zone are we running tonight? You're asking, what kind of night are we trying to have? Do we want to be competitive and sweat, or do we want to chill? Hop into some lower stake matches and warm up in PvP? Do we want to experience something cooperative, something story driven? Or do we want to chase some epic scaled event together, something we can only find in a Bungie game? And what if it all tied back directly into our progression within the core experience? That feels way more like a Bungie game, because when their games are at their best, you don't just log in for one dish, you log in for the full buffet of options. We play Bungie games for escapism, to be drawn into storytelling experiences that can only be found in games like Halo and Destiny. There is no reason that a game that is foundationally this good can't expand and bring in concepts that Bungie perfected over the past 20 years from their old franchises. Bungie needs to stop playing it safe with this game. They have got to stop polishing the foundation after Season 5 and just build the damn house. They need to take their home run swing. And I know what some people are gonna say to me. Well, actually, Eric, it's more important for a game to have depth. It's better if it's 2 inches wide and 20 feet deep. And my reply to you, did you not play the old Bungie games? Bungie was the masters of creating scale without ruining depth. I'm not asking them to do something that they haven't already done before 20 years ago. And I am aware that there's a caveat to this whole thing, something that Bungie has to avoid, and that's trying to make Marathon appeal to a wider demographic or a larger audience or whatever other bullshit people are saying these days. We don't want them to appeal to everybody because that's what destroys identity. I'm not saying turn Marathon into Fortnite or even Halo or Destiny or some bloated mess with no direction with 17 different menus like Battlefield 6. No, keep Marathon, but find creative ways to make more of what you already have. Think bigger. Give this IP the kind of game that it deserves. Because Marathon, as an extraction shooter, it's special. I know that, but it could be something that's special beyond just this small niche genre. The kind of game that you can disappear in for years. The kind of game that creates stories that people talk about. But eventually, they're gonna have to decide. Do they want to make a great extraction shooter? Or do they want to make the next genre-defining first-person shooter? Deep down, I think Bungie knows the answer. Because I know what I would choose. So what are your thoughts? Ask yourself honestly, is Marathon as it stands today actually enough? And really think about it. Not just for you, but enough for this game to be a success that Bungie needs it to be. I read all of my comments, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. And if you want to hear my take on whether or not Marathon's going to be able to successfully save Bungie, or why I think Marathon is secretly one of the greatest shooters that nobody's playing right now, go ahead and click on one of the videos right over here. If you enjoyed today's video, you know what to do. My name is Eric and I like to make videos about gaming stuff that I want to talk about. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.